everyone, it's Felicity and I'm back for my own individual update today. I'm sorry we haven't had a video out in a couple of weeks. The last video we did was the unboxing of the Up All Night retreat in a box by the Black Needle Society. That weekend was also supposed to be a Stitch with Us weekend, and then we decided that you already had an unboxing video and we had a lot of things going on. Then last week I was supposed to film this update like last week till the end of last weekend, and I've just been flat out with work. Basically, we've changed our process of trying to get to permanent jobs for teachers at the moment in South Australia, and it's been a lot of work and I've been very stressed over that. So I haven't been in the right mind frame to even stitch or even just film and come in and check in with you guys. So that's all done. Applications had to be in by Monday, thank goodness. I still was kind of burnt out from that, so I didn't really stitch. I started stitching again last night, so hopefully coming into June I might get a better stitching month than I did in May, because I didn't do very much. I mainly have for you today two projects that I've worked on since my last update, individual update in April. I know, my last update was about April the 13th, so last month and a half, 6 weeks. I've only worked on about 2 things, and I said I had lots of plans and I didn't do them. Alright, so let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to look into is my projects that I've worked on, which we call WIPs, which are works in progress. And this one is in my bag from Silks For You, which is a Harry Potter bag, which may give you an idea of what I worked on. So the project that was in this bag is my Ravenclaw Crest by a Russian designer. I'll put the name down here as well as the Etsy shop. I have all 4 patterns, so I will be stitching all 4, and I have 2 on the go so far. One thing you'll learn about if you have never stitched anything from a Russian designer is they love blends. And a way that I've decided to look into the blends is using these. So I've made my own floss rings instead of buying them, and you can see that I've written on there the DMC numbers, and I already have my blend set up. Some of these I've already finished with, depends on which colour they are, but I can just re-put them back into my stash later on. The main reason I stitched on this project was for the Up All Night event. That was on the 31st of May, heading to the 1st of May over in the US, and I think for us it was on the 1st of May. It was attached to the box that we did the unboxing for last week. So there was a whole 24-hour event, and I managed to stay out for the full 24 hours. I managed it, I got through. So it started at 8 o'clock in the morning for us on the Saturday, and it went through to 8 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday. And then from there I was able to get a couple of hours sleep, and we went out for lunch for an early Mother's Day, because Dad wasn't allowed to move after that because he had some health issues going on. So we did an early Mother's Day, then I came back and crashed. But it was all good by the time I had to get up for work the next morning on the Monday. Isn't this amazing? This is where I'm up to so far. I'm also going to insert a before photo of where I was out. You saw it last time. But look at that. I've been able to go through in here, and I've done most of the back stitching on this part. I still have a lot more border to go up, of course. I didn't have the jewel in the middle here either last time, so that's all now been fully stitched as well as back stitched in the middle. And then I have all of this half stitch complete. There's another star here, part of the other talon coming through, and I've increased this border going through. And then there's another star to be filled in with the white, and of course much more back stitch to go. But this is amazing. You wouldn't believe how many colours come into this and how much those blends actually really make the piece. So I'm really happy with what I've done. Over that weekend, like just that 24 hours, I put in over 2,000 stitches according to Pattern Keeper. Sure, that's a mix of half stitches and full stitches as well, so it's probably a little less than that. But just in a 24-hour period, that was a lot. And the way that I did it was to do, during the challenges I did full stitches, because you always count 1 full stitch as a point towards the points. And then during the time we were just sitting and chatting in the rooms and things like that, I'd be doing the half stitches, and that kind of was an easy way to kind of see lots of progress, but also you didn't feel as stressed. But isn't that just gorgeous? So you can see here that most of that bottom part is done, and I think I have 2 of the bottom pages complete because they're only partial pages down the bottom, and then I'm just starting to work up with that border. And then I have the eagle in the middle ready to stitch. So I can't wait to finish stitching the eagle. There's going to be a lot more of those brown blends coming through. And yeah, so this is on my Whip Go board twice. So Whip Go is a year-long goals challenge basically that you set yourself, that was designed by Jessie Marie. It's basically like the bingo board, but you have your projects on there instead. And I finished my first goal in February, which is 1,500 stitches. That were all full stitches. And I also meant to put Slytherin on my board, but I actually put Ravenclaw again. And so I'm just still going to count it, and I finished that on that weekend too. So I've done another 1,500 stitches between them. And it just looks amazing. I forgot to mention that the fabric for this, it's on 32 count, and it's just a regular even weave called Blue Clouds, and it's from Sewitall. So it's one of those printed fabrics. So on the back it's like a light blue compared to all the different colouring on the front. The second project that I've been able to get a lot of progress on this month is in my Mermaid Bag. And most people who know what my project's like knows what's in here. And I love this project, and it's on my finish radar for this year. I want to finish. I want to get it done. She's super close. Super close. So this is my Gypsy Queen by Mirabilia. And isn't she just gorgeous? I'm actually pretty close with the call for, I don't have the call for fabric, but I have something that's very similar. And last time you saw her, the dress had been done, and I was working on heading back upwards. And this is where I'm up to. Isn't she looking amazing? The dress is now all fully complete. I don't like beads, but it's basically complete. So the patches down here you can see will be filled with beads. Last time you saw her, the whole bottom half was complete. So now I focused on finishing off her bodice. So her bodice up here is all done. And I've done a lot of 1/1 stitching on the skin. But it just creates so much more detail and dimension into this. Her bangles is done. So from what I remember recently is I had this bangle done. And then I went up and I think I'd finished this bangle. And then I've done all the skin over on this side here, and then brought up this. So all I need to do now is I need to stitch her face. So if I bring this close here, you can see that I've done the arm, just coming up from that last bangle to bring in her hand and her chest. And then all I need to do is her face and her hair. It's a lot of 1/1 skin stitching, but that's going to be fine. I'll put her on my frame and back on my stand, and I'll continue working on her. That's actually a very good representation of this fabric. This fabric always seems to get washed out a lot, whether I try and take photos of it or anything. But I cannot wait. And actually, she is going to be on my plans for this coming month into June, because she's on my Whip Go board quite a few times. I finished the first goal now, which is finish the dress and the skin on the arm. So I still have a hand to do, but I've basically finished her bodice and I'm happy with that. So I've said that that goal is complete. The next goal I need to do is to finish like basically all the rest of the stitching, so her face and her hair. And I'm going to get that done in June. I'm going to get back on track with Whip Go because I found that I lost track with it just because of being so stressed. So I'm going to get back on track with that, and I'll talk more about that when we come into plans and about what's going on with Whip Go. Wouldn't it be crazy if I could finish her in June? That would mean she would only just be past her 2nd birthday. because I started here on the 16th of May in 2019. So we've hit her second birthday. I don't want to hit her third. Also, her fabric is 32 count Golddigger from Color Cascades, and it's a Jobelan. And that leads really nicely into both plans as well as a bit of a summary of where I'm at with Whip Go, since we're now just about hit 6 months of the year. Part of my plans is, because I'm so behind with some of my projects, is that I am going to try and work on a couple more than like one thing a day. I'm not normally great at this, but I'd like to see some progress in some of my larger whips, and so I'm thinking if I just spend a couple of hours and then another couple of hours something else, I may get some progress. I was also trying to get myself out of this funk of not stitching very much, and so I just Friday I really cleaned up this room I'm in. I just had everything everywhere, so it's all cleaned. That cupboard over there is now all organized again. And then actually yesterday I put this whip back on a Q-snap. It's going to stay on a Q-snap until I get the page done. And if you know by now, you know I like large projects, and this is my Stitch in Time Max Color by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven Earth Designs. And I actually got about 300 stitches in last night, which is a lot because this is Confetti Hell, being Max Color. So I'm just going to keep this on the Q-snap. As you can see, I have this page ready to work. Normally I've been stitching this in diagonal blocks going down, but I'm going to stitch this differently just for this page because it's kind of half a book and then continuing off that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this book here, which is this bluey green book, and then I've got like an orangey book coming through. So I'm actually just going to stitch them down on the books, just because then I'm using the similar colours, and yeah, it might just go a bit faster. I just want to give it a try. So I want to keep this out. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I want to get this page finished so then I can move down and I can stitch this page down here, because I'm behind on my goals for this one and I want to get some progress for this year. The other one is, it's not on my Whip Go board, so it's not really got any goals for this year, but I feel like I should be able to stitch this quite reasonably. And I've been seeing going around everyone's Flosstubes as well as on Instagram about people doing 25 either stitches a day or 25 minutes a day on a whip. And I thought this would be just one that I could do that for. Because honestly, there are some days when I get home from school where I just don't want to stitch. And I really, then it gets into the habit of not stitching, and I don't want that to happen like it did in May. So with this one, I want to at least try and put either at least 25 minutes in a day. That includes not looking at my phone, and see how much progress I can get done. I've already put it on the Q-snap, and it's my Silhouette Lady from Artisy Designs. I think it's Artisy Cross Stitch. And it is on 22 count Forbidden Fruit, again by Color Cascade. I'm just stitching it all in DMC 310, 2/1 on the 22 count, and that's why it's getting really good coverage. I know I could have done 1/1, but with black, I just wanted that extra coverage just to get it going. I've actually done a little bit of progress on this just from today, just getting some things done. I've done the hand, but yeah. So when I come back in a month, I want to see some progress on this just by putting 25 minutes in. Depending if when Chloe and I film our stitch with us, I may also do some progress on that then, just to continue to see some progress. It's something easy that I can just use one colour on when we're stitching and chatting. But yeah. Alright, so Whip Go. I'll put a picture of my board in here. My board, I gave myself a lot of very high goals, okay, and looking at them now, probably being an overachiever, but that's okay. I can know that, and I know I've got the whole year to work on it. So in January, we had 3 goals, 3 numbers that were called. That was number 6, 13, and 18. So number 6 linked to Queen Mariposa, and I've already finished that. I've done the border on that, so that's already all done. Number 13 was the free space, and I didn't put anything there. And number 18 was the 20-sided dice fairy, and I finished that goal. So January's all done. I'm all good. February we had number 20, which is the Ravenclaw emblem, so that's done, as well as number 4, which is Gypsy Queen Mirabilia. So I've just finished those goals. So February, January, February, all good, sorted. March goal numbers were 10 and 24, and they were both on a stitch in time. I was able to get 1 page done, but I still have 1 page to go. So kind of half and half, not quite. April, again, stitch in time got called, so that means I got 2 pages to catch up for a stitch in time. The other number that was called was 21, and that's my portrait of Veronica by Mirabilia. I did say last time that I wanted to get to that, and I didn't. However, I did have to pull it out yesterday, and I did a bit of frogging, and I'll show you why. So this is Portrait of Veronica. So again, all the lovely ladies, and I love these dresses. And I started this last year in my start. I just did heaps and heaps of starts. Now, you can see in this dress, there's a lot of this white. Okay, you can see there's a lot of white in a dress, and then there's this lovely darker green. When I'd done this last year, I'd done about 1,000 stitches. And I'd done a lot of the white stitches as well. However, I must have picked up the blank and the B5200. And I could see the difference. Alright, I could see where I'd been stitching with the blank, which is more of a dirtier white, not as bright, and where I was been stitching with the B52500. So that came out. So yesterday, I picked that out. And you can see probably a little bit where it was, but it's all picked out, and I'll just put that in, and I'll just keep going and restitch from there. Maybe once I finish Gypsy, I'll put Portrait of Veronica back on my stand, and I'll fix that up with the white, and then I'll continue up my goal. So personally, I'm probably not going to count restitching those white stitches in my total, because I'm annoyed at myself. I hated taking it out, but I could see, and it would have annoyed me so much. So I just had to take it out. Then we come to May. May's goal numbers were 22 and 19. Number 22 for me is the Ravenclaw emblem. So, yep, that's all good. I'm done with that project on Whip Go for this year. I won't pull it out, but I don't need to stress about making any goals for that. Number 19 was another Mirabilia, and that was Zelda. Didn't even touch it. So I think they're going to be put on the back burner until I get Gypsy Queen done, because she's my main goal for this year for Mirabilias. Now coming into June, so our numbers were released 3 days ago. June are number 1 and number 17. Number 1 for me is my Butterfly Lace Mandala by Jobelan, and I love that project. I really do. I'm not in the mindset at the moment to stitch on it. Oh dear. It's lovely, but there's so many silks and specialty stitches that I'm still learning. Not this month. So I'll probably put that on hold maybe until later on in the year, when I can really focus on it. And yeah. And then number 17 is my Gypsy Queen. So that's why she's my main goal this year. But I still want to have these other 2 just to have some variety so I don't get burnt out. Next, stash. Stash and Heartments. I didn't buy anything. No. Haven't bought anything. I've just been stitching, been a bit of funk, just kind of like that. However, I do have an amazing gift by my friend Amy. I shared her bags last time. She's from Frog and Tink on Etsy. She started making bags. She's also thinking about doing the thread keeps and all sorts, the needle books. Like, she's got so many ideas. And she's also doing Frogwats with us. So Chloe and I and Amy, we're all doing Frogwats. Chloe and I are going to be the mad ones and staying up for like the 4 full days and doing it. And we're all Harry Potter nerds. And she's made both myself and Chloe a bag. And isn't this amazing? So these are the 2 bags that we have. Chloe's decided that she wants this one. So you've got she's going to have the green zipper, and then on the back we have this fabric, which is actually my inside fabric, and on the back I have all the different crests and the different houses. Inside also she's made us a, what do you call them with the felt? Name's gone. You know what these are. Like you can just, floss catcher type of thing, where you can just put your floss on there and it doesn't get lost. And I have these little trim with some yarn as a holder. I picked them up from Amy on Tuesday because I'm at her house every week, and I haven't had a chance to see Chloe yet. So when I see Chloe, I will pass them to her. Last thing I want to mention is, while I didn't do some stitching, I did actually for a couple of nights pick up some knitting. I only worked on one project. Again, it's in a Harry Potter bag. It's just one that just holds 2 skeins of yarn in a project. It may stay in here forever, it may not. I may have to move it depending on what size it is. This is like the set. I've got 2 active knitting whips, and I'm a little stalled on one of them because I'm scared of how to change yarn colours. So I got plenty of yarn that I don't need to change yarn on this one. This one, the yarn is a 50% merino, 50% silk blend, and it's called Nemo's Mum, and it is that nice corally colour. I'm stitching these on some of my Chigo's interchangeables. I think this is a size 6, so 4mm. And the pattern I'm stitching is by Curious Handmade, otherwise known as Helen Stewart, and it was from like 2 years ago, the Shawl Society, and it's called In the Dunes, and it's a wrap. And this is what I've done. So you can kind of see the pattern coming through. So I've done finished the first bottom lace repeat, so that this is just like a lace repeat, eyelets, lace repeat, eyelets, and so that bottom lace repeat has been done, and that's my first really full-on section of lace. I started this off and then frogged it, started it off, did all the time, and it is going like asymmetrical, so it starts off longer down here. And now I've started the lace repeats, and you can see that they're going in like a diagonal direction. So it's going to be a nice light shawl, so it's not going to be for like winter, but it'd be good if you're going out. And you can see the wave type of section down the bottom. How do people show yarn? Like, good lord. But it's really pretty. This eyelet section, it's just like a row of eyelets and then a row of pearl for the wrong side. It'll be a lot easier and quicker to do. It's maybe some of those nights where I struggle to stitch. I should work on this instead. Just because the eyelet section is easier than lace. I do have a stitch marker on here, and it was at the very bottom because I hadn't shown it to you because I've restarted that many times. And it's a little dolphin. So I'll put that on the row while we're at it, so I can remember where we were up to. Alright, so I've moved my stitch marker. So by the time I show it again, depending what I've done, you'll be able to see how much I've worked on. So probably the nights that I'll be doing some knitting instead of cross stitching is probably definitely Monday nights. Mondays we finish school and then we have meetings normally every week. Then I have a bit more of a commute coming home in peak hour traffic, and then I have some online tutoring. So I think Monday nights might be a night for doing some knitting compared to cross stitch. And then on the other nights if I'm just too tired, I think I'm going to try and bring that in. So at least I'm doing something crafty, because I got into a funk in May and I hated it and I need to do my craft. But thank you for watching this and coming back and watching our videos all the time. I'm sorry that we didn't have a video up last week. Again, I just wasn't in the headspace. I'm a lot better now, more focused since we got all the applications done. During that time, my dad had to have some surgery on his leg to get removed of a skin cancer that was growing very fast externally. So he was laid up for 3 weeks and being a bear, because men don't like it when they're sick and they can't move. So we've had a bit of things going on, and I just haven't been in the mindset. So I'm hoping that June is better. I can get a really good stitching month. Please, fingers crossed that maybe one of my applications does really well so I can get a job, a permanent job. I've had contracts and I just like a permanent job. So fingers crossed for me for that. And we will see you next week for a Stitch with Us. Chloe and I will be back together. We have some questions ready for our upcoming video. And if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, leave them down below. But thank you to everyone who comments and likes and subscribes. I do read all your comments. Sometimes I don't get a chance to write back because my life has been crazy. So we'll be back next week with a Stitch with Us. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and craft something beautiful. Bye!